this is LaRosha Royer from Tyler, Texas, and you're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North on Spreaker.com.
You're listening to The Next 15, a 15-minute podcast show for the binge listener covering random topics such as relationships, current news, and everyday life issues. My name is Trey North, and for the next 15 minutes, I hope to make you laugh, educate, and inspire you. Welcome to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North and Chris McAllister. It's Friday night at 7 p.m. and we're here with another episode. And this one's going to be a little serious. But first, let me bring in my co-host, Chris McAllister.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? So good to be once again back in the saddle. But we have some good stuff to talk about tonight, man. So come on.
Yeah, man. We welcome everybody that is getting in. Hello, Jacqueline Hammett. We see you listening live. We would love to hear your comments tonight. We got a great topic for you. Of course, you've seen it. We changed it up. We were advertising Does It Matter? But we felt like we had to go in and do some other stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, tonight we're talking about enough. With everything that's going on. Hi, Andrea. Everything that's going on in today to this world period, COVID-19, and now another black young man has been murdered by the ones that have supposedly swore to protect and serve us. And so we're going to dive into that issue tonight because it's a serious topic and we love your feedback. So if you're listening in or have friends or family you want to participate in this, let them know. Share this right now where you're listening right here on Spreaker. Or you can tell them to go to next15podcast.com and also hear it on our website.
Right. And so, man, this is such a a hot topic right now in regards to everything that's going on with with the life of George Floyd, man, and for it to spark what it has sparked, man, it almost feels like it's the beginning of almost a revolution, man. It's getting dicey out here, man, and it's heavy. Like, this is heavy, but the title says it really like it should be. Enough. Yeah.
I think that's where we are. I mean, enough's been enough. Yeah. But this is just enough. Yeah. I mean, I'm tired of this.
Exactly. It's the humanity that individuals don't receive like everybody else does. Enough of us not being treated like human beings. Enough. And I mean, I think the outrage would be the same if they had to be Caucasian or Hispanic. It's just, I think the problem for me is it's dealing with officers.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's dealing with law enforcement.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those who wear a badge and carry guns,
who should protect and serve.
Right, absolutely. If you're just tuning in on this, we're discussing tonight's topic is George Floyd, Minnesota man who moved to Minnesota to better his life. Right, and we saw it live. Yeah, basically murdered right in front of our eyes. Yes, those that were taking pictures by 4 cops. One being shown holding his knee to this young man's neck while he is steady saying that he can't breathe, my stomach hurt, and literally did nothing. I mean, you had one cop that was watching. Yeah. The whole thing as it right before our eyes. It was very sickening, man. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It might be a dumb question for me to say. How does it get to the point where you don't care? You're being filmed, and you are being filmed, right? And you have your neck, your knee in a man's neck like he's an animal with your hands in your pocket.
Yeah, and see, at that point, I mean, that's when you feel that you're more powerful than the law itself. That's when we start talking, individuals that feel that they are better than or more powerful than. It's it was disgusting to watch it, but again, like we have made it to the point where this is not new. Like, it's just now being filmed. You know, this is not new for us. You know,
yeah, you're right.
We've always, that's why in the African American community, we've always had some form of distaste for law enforcement.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason for it is because we heard the stories. Now we can see the video.
Yeah.
You know, back in the days, you would only hear of what somebody went through. You
Right.
never saw what somebody went through, but now you can see it, and the outrage is getting to the, you know, that's what the outrage is, because now I can see it.
Yeah, and that's the thing about it. What we can see now, but we don't know that what was not seen, you know, back in the day.
Right.
And now it's clear as day. I mean, and you would think you wear a body cam.
Right.
I mean, you're exposing yourself. But in my mind, you just don't care. You know, you don't value a human life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's bananas how. And then over a well, I heard two stories.
Right.
I heard one was a counterfeit $20 bill,
Yeah.
and then I heard one was a maybe a insufficient check.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hot check.
Regardless,
Yeah. Right.
I mean, a man had to lose his life over $20 or a check that
Right.
might have not been good.
Right.
I mean, that's crazy. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Again, like for a man to lose his life over $20, if it's fake, real, whatever may have you, is insane. You know, even watching the video, there's so many different spots that the video has now gone out on, as of different viewpoints from the cameras that the individuals were recording, or the cameras that were recording from the actual store. At that point, it even shows what it you never see Mr. Floyd resist arrest. Like,
Right.
so, you know, you never see him resisting when the video camera starts, or when you get to see it. They've already detained him. He's already handcuffed, and they're walking him to a corner, you know, where and he sits, and they sit him down. My question is, how in the world did it transition to him being detained already, to them having him on his stomach, face pressed to the ground, and this man's knee in the back of his neck? That's what you don't see at this point, and it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, naturally, you would think one with any humanity. Okay, first of all, it doesn't take that many.
Correct.
I mean, and then what would it have been for you to take your knee off of his neck?
Right.
You know, I mean,
yeah,
I'm baffled by that. And it looked like you know how they compared the guy on Floyd's on George's neck to Kaepernick kneeling,
right.
and to me it was almost a mockery.
Almost.
You know, he had his hands in his pocket, and he was cool, calm, and cool with it
the whole time. Like,
and
the
people
whole
are
time.
screaming, "You're killing this man!"
Yeah, like, even to the point when you watch the video all the way to the end, you can hear where the other black gentleman saying he's not responding.
Right.
You know, he's not responding. The body has now went limp. He's not. And then you have a firefighter, a young lady who's a firefighter for the Minneapolis department, or what may have you, saying that, hey, you need to check to see if he's breathing. None of that was done. You know, none of that was done. As of, this guy is not responding. You have a knee in the back of his neck, and then on top of that, you have another professional that's in this vicinity saying you need to check his pulse.
Right.
And you chose not to do so. You know, my question to you, just, you know, I gotta ask, which I kind of know the answer, but is that, or is that not murder?
It's murder to me. Yeah. I mean, it's no different from you choking somebody with your bare hands.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's murder. I mean, murder. I mean, that's intentional. It wasn't like he couldn't resist. Okay, he was already pinned down to begin with. So, I mean, the I can't breathe should have been enough.
Correct.
You know, if you cared about, if you cared for human life,
right,
you would have at least, the least you could have done was take your knee off of his neck.
That would have stopped him, in my opinion. He would still be with us.
Of course he would.
All you had to do was get off his neck.
Another black man. Another black senseless death. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. I'm looking at Rod. He said, in my opinion, this is no different than lynching. Absolutely,
Rod.
It's the same thing. It's murder.
Yeah,
exactly.
Miss Erica also said it's murder. Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it actually is. I mean, here's a guy. He's and I was reading. He has 2 daughters. The youngest being 6, and then he also has a daughter that is now the mother of a toddler. So he has a grandchild.
Wow.
That'll never meet.
That'll never meet
him.
Their grandfather. Oh,
yeah. He has I believe a 3-year-old granddaughter. According to the report from Rose Hudson, who was actually, I think they dated like 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And interesting, he's a native of Houston.
Yeah, H-Town.
Yeah, he's a native of Houston who came to Minneapolis from the reports to just better his life.
Yeah, he was actually enrolled into truck driving school.
Yeah.
So he was literally getting his life together, going to truck driving school and, getting all that together. I seen one post, his brother had just sent clothes to Minneapolis to help his brother out. And now, that's heavy, man.
Wow.
In the way we are being, killed. Like it's almost, I don't want to put it on that spectrum, but it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, oh man, God. If you're listening in and tuning in, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We're talking about enough. We're talking about the death of the murder of George Floyd by Minneapolis police officers. And now it's a big protest going on. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Before we go into that, let's take a quick commercial break. We'll talk about what's going on now as a result of this, and then we'll get some feedback from our listeners.
Yeah.
We'll be right back on the next 15. This is Trey North. Thanks for tuning in tonight. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share with your friends right now so that they can join in on the fun. Log on to your favorite social media platform and let them know that you're listening live to the Next 15 podcast show. You're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North on Spreaker.com. And we are back on the Next 15 podcast with yours truly, Trey North and Chris McAllister. And we're talking about the murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis as we watched on television, on the news, on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, a senseless death by yet another black human being.
Right. I mean, the question now comes to me, and I'm gonna speak for myself, as I've watched all these different things transpire throughout the last, number of years. Let's just go, you can always go back 5 years at this point, of all the individuals that happen to be of African American descent that have lost their lives at the hands of police officers that also did not have anything that could have threatened an officer, and the lives that have been lost. At what point, what do we do as a society or as a culture or as a race to begin to get the justice that we deserve? Because it looks like the protest and the, voting has done nothing.
Right. Well, in lieu of that, we are noticing now that people are rioting.
Right.
Rioting stores, burning down actually the precinct there.
Yeah.
This is how, as angry Americans were clapping back. Because, I mean, I understand, and I'm not a supporter of the looting.
Right.
I don't know. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
How do you feel about the burning of the buildings and
Okay.
I mean, I know that's
okay.
You're laughing because I feel like you're laughing because you're gonna have a different opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with it.
I'm gonna be very honest with you, and I know. Listen to me as a pastor, but this is the humanity of people. This is what you get. So do I agree with the looting and the stealing? Absolutely not. Mm-hmm. But I would say let's burn down City Hall. Like I come from a different perspective because change isn't changed until it's changed, and real change generally comes, I'm not gonna say with bloodshed, but until people understand that you're no longer going to allow the actions that they do, it comes with some type of reaction.
Yeah.
So for every action that you take, there will be a reaction.
Absolutely.
And so I'm to the point where if this makes me any less than a person in some people's views, that's fine. But I'm talking about let's go down to City Hall and let's set this bad boy ablaze. I know that's not funny, but
I know
that's kind of where I'm coming from.
I mean, a lot of people' opinion might be not supportive of rioting because we are basically damaging our own neighborhoods and our communities when we do that. Because in the end, there with the looting and rioting, there are some local business owners like your mom and pop stores, that are taking hits on this as well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're taking hits on this, and it's not even their fault, So, and I understand that some people will use this as an opportunity to get what they want, such as the looting and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's just, what can we do? I mean, like you're saying, we do all the peaceful rallies, we do all the protest. I mean, and it seems like that we have to go to these drastic measures for something to get done. Without all of this, they wouldn't even have fired them. And then my problem is that you fire them, but why come they're not in jail? Then I heard from an ex-Minneapolis resident who says that the man is now out of state. He fled because they found out where he lived. How do you let First of all, let's get to the point. Why did you fire him?
Right.
Why did you fire him?
Right.
Was it because of murder? And if that's the case, then why is he not behind bars in jail?
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. You know what? I see everybody in the chat. Hey, Marjanae from the Drip Podcast. How are you doing? Thank you so much for tuning in. And my boy Rod Garrett, of course. We're opening up the lines 512-827-9164. 512-827-9164. If you want to get in and your comments on this enough topic, please do. We love to hear from you. That number is 512-827-9164. But yeah, man, how do you feel about that? Like you fire them,
right?
And I'm saying take away their pensions, take it all. You know what I mean? Take it all. But you get fired for what?
Okay. It looks like we have a call coming in, but
let's take it. Let's take it. Let's let them answer it. Welcome to the Next 15 podcast. Caller, where are you calling? Well, first of all, who's calling and where are you from?
Yo, this is Rod Garrett calling from Houston, Texas. How y'all doing?
What up, Rod?
Hey, Rod, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Phil?
What's your comment?
Hey, yo, man. Yeah, listen, I appreciate y'all handling this hot topic. I don't think it could get any hotter.
Yeah.
What I want to say, man, is it's amazing. Well, maybe not, but the temperature is definitely rising. I call it the tipping point, per se. Here in Houston, matter of fact, there's been a protesting. Downtown. For blocks and blocks and blocks since 1 o'clock this afternoon.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, man, I don't think we've seen a lot on camera, but in the comments I associated this with a lynching because if you think about how the gruesomeness and the 7 minutes of his life draining from his body.
Yeah.
Right.
Fixated, the fixation of the cutting off of the airway. It is exactly similar to the progression of someone dying from strangulation from a noose around their necks.
Absolutely.
I agree. I totally agree with that, Rod. I absolutely do.
Yeah. Yeah. I noticed in the comments, Rod, you were saying that they're having a protest tomorrow in Houston.
No. They actually started the protesting here this afternoon around 1 a.m.
Okay. I'm sorry. I misunderstood that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I mean, it's drones and drones of people, man. I mean, it's huge.
So Rod, so with that protest right now in Houston, is it a legitimate protest, or are you seeing some rioting also there in Houston?
No, as the last that I've heard or followed in the media, there has not been any violence. There hasn't been any rioting. Although there was an incident where there was a woman who wielded a rifle and she was arrested. And that was earlier on this evening with the march. But in terms of violence, any rioting, there's no reports of that.
Okay. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Rod. How do you feel about them firing the officers, but they're not doing any time for it, or at this moment they're not in jail?
Right.
Yeah. Oh man. So my feelings are, and I feel very strongly about this, is that the trend has been, and we've seen where, especially if there's a unfortunate white officer and a black, I will call victim, there seems to be this skewing of the law, meaning that if there's a clear and present evidence that there was no combativeness, there was no assaulting of the officer, and they die, whether by gunshot or gruesomely as Mr. Floyd did, to me, I think there should be immediate detainment. Because as we see in this case, it allows this time to, in my opinion, when these things happen, there's a systemic way that they objectify or try to objectify the victim.
Right.
So in other words, if they're saying, okay, he was resisting arrest, or he was being aggressive. So now, in this case, fortunately, there's evidence via other camera angles that show that he was not doing any of that.
Absolutely.
Right.
But in times past, and usually when this happens, there's a gap of time where they're trying to figure out who is going to step in.
Right.
There's a call for what are you going to do locally? Well, they fired him. Well, that's not enough. So are we going to get the feds involved? So there's this time and space that goes by. And in that time and space, I think more and more damage happens.
Right.
More emotional damage and unrest for the family of the victim, as well as the black community. And then you have their back and forwards of subjected to looking at it from a subjective standpoint of did they actually do something criminal? Right. And now in this case, you have the officer who is quote unquote being arrested. Well, he's not arrested. Right. He's also in committed another, in my opinion, another act of unlawful behavior because he's fled.
Right.
And he wants his arrest. So at the end of the day, to me, it's clear cut. It's a murder case, not third degree. I think it's first degree manslaughter, in my opinion.
Yes.
But and I'll say this now, so I won't be long with it. I think that there is two types of law that we are governed by in this country. We are governed by the laws that say that when a person commits a crime, they're tried in the court of law. They're innocent until proven guilty, right?
Yeah.
And usually, if that is a person who actually committed a law, and you have evidence, like we clearly see in this case, then they are punished by the letter of the law.
Yeah.
But then there's this other law that are outside the bounds of the judiciary system, by which police officers, and especially dirty police officers, are not governed the same as the other. And there we have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Totally agree with you, Rod. I totally agree with that sentiment, man. Again, like you said, it's that there is so much to the point where it looks bad on the police department.
Yeah.
At this point, you know, they fired him just to save face,
Right.
You know, but that wasn't good enough anyway.
It was a formality.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you were gonna have to fire him because they're gonna have to go to jail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
Well, exactly. I mean, exactly.
yeah. So the firing of the police officers, it didn't do anything for me when they said,
Absolutely.
and they acted like there was something really. No, absolutely, you were going to fire them.
Right.
You know, I you know, if they would have stayed police officers, the riots that you see now would have been even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And listen, and I'll say this, and I'll definitely, I know probably some other callers want to call in if that's the case. I will say this: I actually believe, and this is my utopia in regards to social justice of this nature. When a law officer who is supposed to serve and protect violates that civil liberty of us living in a community where we feel safe from violence that is not due to us, but then is committed by those who are supposed to serve and protect.
Right.
I think that should be qualified and written into law and punitive under that law as an act of terrorism, as an act of domestic terrorism.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I just believe that there's too much history of tyranny,
Yes,
and brutal violence that we have received
Right.
as a group of people from our lineage.
Right.
Yeah.
And for us to revisit this in this day and time with the lens through an 8-inch lens or 10-inch lens, and nothing's done, that speaks that we have a problem in this country.
right,
Absolutely. We definitely do.
right,
Man,
absolutely.
thank you so much, Rod. Man, we appreciate you, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
Likewise, I appreciate y'all.
All right,
All
man.
right.
All right. There you have it. I mean,
Yeah.
that was real.
That was good.
I mean, that was real.
Yeah.
I mean, everything he said was real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, man. Listen, if you want to chime in on this, that number again is 512-827-9164. We love to hear your comments.
Yeah.
By the way, that Rod, I know him. We know him.
Yeah, we know.
A black entrepreneur, bald bearded, blessed. You've heard him on numerous episodes, the commercials.
Yeah.
He's actually going to be with us the month of June.
Yeah.
We're trying to get him booked for a podcast show.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're looking forward to that. Thank you so much. We have another call coming in.
Another call coming in. Awesome.
All right, hold on one second. Welcome to the Next 15 Podcast Show. Caller, who am I speaking with, and where are you from?
Hello, this is Tiffany Pascal from Austin, Texas.
Hey, Tiffany, how are you doing?
Hey guys. You know, I've had better days. That's for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what are your comments? Or what?
Well, you know, first I want to thank you for the premise of the show because I think it's just so timely. For me, and I think for a lot of Black people alike, as Pastor Chris was saying, like we've taken this, we've digested it, we've pushed it down, we've built up the dam, and we've continued to put one foot in front of the other because we have to function, we have to provide. And something, you know, about this, it something snapped for me. The dam broke for me yesterday. In relation to it, I think what made it even more sensitive for me is it happened in my hometown. I've been in Austin for 5 years, and so to see places burn that 2 blocks from where I used to live, and to feel the outcry and the heartbreak and the anger of the people, it's just really hitting me extremely, extremely hard.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. And so,
Yep.
if you don't mind me asking, Miss Tiffany, so you said you have family there in Minneapolis, correct?
Yes, I lived in Minneapolis for 20 plus years, and so I've just only been in Texas five years. So Minneapolis is I still consider very much home.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you at that point, I mean, have you reached out to any of your families, and have they kind of given you some feedback on the kind of the temperature of the city there?
Absolutely. Yep. Good question. I have checked on my family and friends, and all my peeps are okay, but it's red alert in the city of Minneapolis right now. It's burning. It's being destroyed, and the topic came up a little bit ago. How do you feel about the rioting and the looting? And I too, I don't agree or condone violence or looting or stealing. But at the same time, I understand the anger and the hurt and the outcry behind it. I feel it's counterproductive to destroy, your community and a place where you need to get your groceries and get your gas and whatnot. But at the same time, like I just said, I think people unlike very much like myself have been pushed to the edge, and I think people are lashing out because it's like it's just like the title of the show. It's enough already. Yeah. It's enough. And so for one, my personal conviction will not allow me to just be disappointed and upset and grieve. There was such a sense, and I'm trying not to cry. There was such a sense of righteous indignation that rose up within me that I can no longer remain silent. Right. I cannot internalize it and dam my feelings up and act like, I'm fine and everything's dandy. Like there's a couple protests happening within the city. I believe one tomorrow and one on Sunday. Right. I will be in that number. I'm going to the store tonight to get my poster board and my signage, and I will be feet on the ground, because at the end of the day, I am a believer in Christ. But the word of God says faith without works is dead. And so I am about to put feet to my faith, because we have to act. Yes, pray. We know that prayer changes things. We know that God is in control. We know that God will have his way. But at the same time, I can't pray for a job and not apply for it.
That's right.
And I get out, and so I can't pray for change and things like that and not try to be a part of it. And that's where I'm at.
Let me ask you this. When we do all that, and we have, I mean, when you really look at it, then what's next? I mean, we since you want to go scripture, let's talk about the scripture where it says the violent take it by force.
Matthew 11.
Here's where I am with that. I think that this now, it must not just fall upon our Black community. I think people of every nation and color have to just take up the banner now, and we have to go in together, because I feel like the Black community, like, very, very much are victims. So it's like asking the victim to take up the fight. You know what I'm saying? All alone. You know what I'm saying? The person that's been victimized, when in fact, the white community, people of all nations and colors need to rise up to this injustice and face it together. And I feel like that hasn't been shown to the degree that it needs to be shown.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very good comments.
Yeah.
You had something for her?
One more quick thing. So, you had brought up the protest that's going to be in Austin for tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Just what are your expectations as a participant for tomorrow? What do you want to see done as the protest is happening here in Austin? With everything that's going on, what do you want to see the outcome of the protest on tomorrow?
Yeah, I think the simple answer to that is change. I think, we know that there's more cities than Minneapolis that are outcrying. I've seen footage from all over the nation of different ones getting out in solidarity to rally, to protest. So for me, it's to be a part of a show of unity. But the biggest thing is that's not enough without change. Like you said, change is not change until it's change. And so I feel like a big part of that is just getting out there, being allowing ourselves to be seen and heard, so that people know that, you know, we're impacted. It's not just in Minneapolis. It's not just in Kentucky or Atlanta. I mean, people of color, not just people of color, but I have very dear friends who are Caucasians, people of different cultures that have reached out to me, and they're feeling, you know, the pain too. Maybe not to the degree that I am, but they're compassionate and they're reaching out and they want to do something. So I'm encouraging people to get out there and let your voice be heard.
Thank you so much. That is
awesome.
I totally agree. Thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to express how I feel.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, be safe on tomorrow.
Yes, absolutely. Be safe tomorrow. I think she hung up. Oh, great comments. You guys have such great feedback. We really appreciate this. Yeah, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break. And if you want to get in, the number is 512-827-9164. Or if you just want to comment in the chat room, if you're here on Spreaker.com, feel free to do so. We'll be speaking to you guys right back after these commercial messages.
Hey family, this is Christopher McAllister, Senior Pastor of Life Changers Church here in the great city of Austin, Texas. And I am so excited to invite you to come experience change. Yeah, that's right, a change. A change in the way you think, a change in what motivates you, or even a change in how you perceive church. So come visit us on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. for an hour of power, either at our physical location at 15020 North I-35 Frontage Road, Austin, Texas, 78728, or on our website at lifechangersaustin.com. Or you can even catch us on our live stream on Facebook at LCC Austin. Yeah, that's right, LCC Austin. Isn't it about time you are a part of something different? Life Changers Church, where we're changing lives starting with ourselves. We'll see you real soon.
You're listening to the Next 15 podcast show with Trey North right here on Spreaker.com. We're back with the Next 15 podcast show. And we just got through talking to Tiffany from Austin, Texas, former resident of Minneapolis over 20 years. And she has some great, interesting comments. I'm back here with my co-host, Chris McAllister.
Yes, sir.
And we were just talking over the commercial break, and he had something that you had something you wanted to say, man?
Yeah, I wanted to say this, man. I mean, even to the protest, it kind of just goes back to the protests that you're seeing in California, Minneapolis, and, you know, they're in Houston, Texas, and then, of course, starting tomorrow here in the great city of Austin, Texas. Tiffany and Mr. Rott said it so greatly that we've gotten to the point where, you know, at this point we've done everything we could possibly do as a people. The Bible says it, and it was quoted earlier. The Bible says, if we're going to speak a little bit of scripture, the Bible says that in Matthew 11, it says that the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, but the violent take it by force. And so with that being said, man, like there are times at this, we have made it to the time, I believe, that there's just some point where we got to take it back. We're going to have to take the justice that we're looking to receive. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to happen with, you know, at this point, it's not going to happen with votes. It's not going to happen with the Million Man March, as we will. You know, at the end of the day, it's not until people begin to understand that, like I said earlier, that an action is going to beget a reaction, and we are now at the point where we're ready to act. We have made it back to the point of civil rights, where people are ready and prepared to start to lose their lives over injustice, and that is a scary. That is a scary place to be. Right. That is a scary place to be, because when people are ready to lose their lives, means they're willing to do anything.
Absolutely.
They're willing to do anything. And so, again, if we just look at history, for real change to happen, I hate to say it, even in biblical times, for real change to happen, there has to be bloodshed. From World War I, World War II, from any time there was a revolution or a revolution of some big change that needed to happen, it always came with bloodshed. And so that's the reality. It might not be what you want to hear, but until we as a people have made the decision that if it kills me, it kills me, but change has to happen, then change will happen.
Yeah, that's facts. Let me play the other side.
Yes, sir.
Devil's advocate.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You have so many people that, and I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
I understand. Like what else can we do at this point? But you still have some that believe in, the violence begets violence. We can, and it seems like we've taught to our children, our young black men,
right.
Cooperate with the police, don't resist, and it seems like we're being taunted for doing so.
Absolutely,
it's like you just looking for a reason, you know what I mean? And so, I think you're right. Back, it's back to civil rights. I mean, that's what America was built on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you're right. I mean, people are willing to this point. People are willing to die for change.
Right.
You know what I mean? And nothing has changed though. I mean, just it's like you said earlier. It's just on camera now. They have cell phones now.
Yeah.
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? But nothing has changed.
Right.
So, but my question is, what can you do without burning your community to the ground? Because like Tiffany said, man, like that's the place where you get your groceries. That's the place where you get your gas and all of that. So I mean, what can we do at this point? What can we do? We tired of talking.
Exactly.
Enough is enough.
Exactly. But here's the thing. Like I said, I don't agree with burning your community. Like and again, I might be wrong in this, but I'm gonna stand by it when I say it. You don't burn your community, but you go downtown to where the decisions are being made.
I got you. You go to their house.
Touche.
Like they used to come to our house and burn our houses and put crosses in the yard.
Right, exactly. Like you go to City Hall.
I got mad.
Like you go to City Hall and you protest and you know what? If it don't change, not a problem. We'll set this bad boy ablaze. You know what I mean? Like at that point is you can't stop at the point or at the fact that you're destroying your neighborhood, because that's one thing that we don't do. We don't build our neighborhoods, if you will. And so again, I'm talking about going downtown. I mean, and it doesn't mean that you have to burn anything,
right?
But what I'm saying is you got to show that we're willing to burn it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it seems like you don't get any attention until we go there.
Yeah, until we go there.
Until we take it there. Yeah. I mean, and now celebrities are involved.
Right.
This is it's bananas. I think we're I mean, and I'm angry, but I'm trying not to be angry.
Right.
But it's like so many black males and women have been that we don't even know about.
Right.
There's been an injustice on their lives.
Right.
They have been murdered. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, I see you, Rod, in the comments. Rod saying, "I like to answer that question." Come on, man, call back, man. We love
absolutely,
to
absolutely, sir.
Get through the lines. Yeah. Absolutely.
And so, that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I feel like as a people, we need to come together. And let's be very honest with you. This is not just a black situation.
No, it's not.
It's not just African Americans. You're talking here Latino descent.
Right.
You know, I had an opportunity to talk to a gentleman that I work with of Latino descent, and he's going through the same thing in that regards.
Wow. We got looks like we got another caller. Welcome to the Next 15 podcast show. Who do I have on the line?
Yeah, this is Rod calling back again, fellas.
Hey man, bring it on, man.
Yeah, so hey, to answer that question, I have combed it over my mind several times in terms of like, what do we do? Like, what actionable plan? Mm-hmm. What can we actually do? And so, I don't want to oversimplify, but I really think that what worked in the past in terms of mobilization, and what I mean by that is, when I say mobilization, really, I believe the only change happens by two ways. And McAllister, you spoke on that, and that's violence. Bloodshed. But I also believe too that when there is mobilization and there is a mobilized effort to shore up your economics,
right,
and divest your money out of systems, then actual change will happen. I think the blueprint for that was in the 60s, right, when Dr. King and others, spiritual leaders, and it started with the church. What they did was they mobilized. Now we have the ability now to reach masses with a 8-inch or 10-inch device in our hands,
right,
social media. But what they did back in the day, they did leaflets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They passed out leaflets and say, hey, on this particular day or this particular time frame, we will not use public transportation. And it literally almost shut the system down. Right? They stopped patronizing their businesses.
That's
and so
good.
Because the power of the black dollar,
true,
we wield so much power with our economics, but we have been conditioned to think that we can only survive or we can only live this American, quote unquote, American dream by buying into systems that really oppress us, or really use our dollars for the wealthy.
Yeah.
But I believe that if we turn inward, now this is maybe unorthodox, but I know that it happened in the 60s. If we turn inward and say, listen, pastors and spiritual leaders, and you can be both black, white, or whatever, you come together and you say, enough is enough. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to mobilize our efforts, and we're going to say, look, we're going to galvanize our monies, and we're going to galvanize our system of communication.
Yeah.
And those same local officials and mayors and government officials that use our dollars, right, or wants to use our platforms every primary to come in and get our vote,
right?
Then we want to tell you what, we're going to divest our money. We're going to divest our money. We'll put it into our black banks and our black institutions. And we will create our own systems. I believe that's the only way. Now the difference is, and that's very unorthodox, but very possible. But I'll say this, and I don't want to sound so dramatic, but you got to be willing to die for the cause.
Absolutely.
Because others that did it died for the cause.
Absolutely.
Died for the cause.
That's how we got. Yeah. That's how we got the right to vote.
Yeah. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. It seems like you're absolutely right. It seems like they only respond to whenever you get in their pockets.
Right.
Whenever you're in their pockets, then now you understand. So I kind of agree with that. I mean, I think you stop spending. I mean, look at the economy now. look how messed up it is right now due to COVID. So yeah.
Let me say this last example is, I don't know if you ever, I followed it. Now, I don't know if you ever remember up in South Dakota, the South Dakota Sioux Indian tribe. This happened maybe a couple of years ago where they were drilling pipelines, oil pipelines, through their sacred territory, desecrating their land and killing out the wildlife. Well, they met them at the border. Now, I think it became national news when Border Patrol sicked the dogs on them and, on the people who were protesting. So that whole entire nation, the whole entire Sioux Nation, what they did two things. They said, you're not going to do that again. And they said, we're going to meet you. If you're going to continue to drill, we're going to galvanize our whole nation. We're going to meet you at the border with these bows, these arrows, and with these guns.
Right.
And they did it. And at the same time, and at the exact same time, they divested all of their money
right
out of Wells Fargo. And guess what they did? They stopped drilling on their land.
Right.
Got in the pocket.
So that is the blueprint. Yes, sir. Well, fellas, I appreciate y'all, man. But let me double dip.
It's all right, man.
Ain't nothing wrong with a double dip.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Hey, man, thank you so much.
Sir.
All right, man.
All right, you welcome.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Great comment.
Yeah, that he's absolutely right. It is not until, like, again, you have to be ready to do both. You got to be ready to do both.
Yeah.
And that's where we are at this point. I think that our society, especially the young ones coming up, we have made it to the point where we're ready to die. Now we got to be ready to pull our money out, man. And he said it, begin to invest in ourselves. We have triculated to the point where we always want to buy the Louis Vuittons.
Yeah.
We want to, we want to support the McDonald's. We want to, and all that good stuff. But we produce quality.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if we was to support our own brand,
that's true,
and our own mission, like we could change
absolutely
the trajectory of the African American thought process.
Not only the thought process, but the financial process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's enough of us. What it's about is about 45 million to 50 million African Americans in the United States. That's a nation within a nation.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think Rod had a great point. Oh man.
Yeah, he did.
This has been such a great episode with the listeners' feedback.
Yes.
I thank y'all so much for tuning in tonight. I sincerely hope and everybody learned something here that was listening, and those that hasn't tuned in live but will hear this podcast, please share it with your friends. We're available at Next 15 Podcast on both Instagram and Facebook platforms. You can also go to www.next15podcast.com. You can subscribe and you can get current news and episodes, and also content that you just can't get unless you subscribe. We have some secret content for our subscribers.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, everybody. We just want to say thank you so much for supporting us. And my co-host, man, I appreciate you.
Hey, no problem at all, man.
Yeah.
I love doing this. This started out as a hobby and it's turned into a job. But it's a job that I love to do, man. And I thank you for the opportunity, man.
Oh, absolutely. Man, no, it's great having you here. You're a great co-host, and it's nice to have the diversity. And even though you're a pastor, you still have that down to earth, non-judgmental, attitude, and you don't have to be so churchy all the time. So I think this was a great show. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the Next 15. This coming up next Friday. We're switching the roles.
Absolutely.
Yours truly is going to be sitting on the opposite side as a co-host.
Yeah, I get to talking to the big mic, everybody. The golden mic.
He's told me that all I'm going to do is just push buttons.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, he's going to get to see what he really is over here.
Oh, yeah.
No, we thank you so much again for tuning in. Don't forget to catch our friends over there at the Drip Podcast on Saturday, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. The Drip Podcast, another Spreaker sister and brother platform. Also, I want to give a shout out to the 80s Hour with Juan Alaman on the Spreaker platform. Has a dope show. He's coming out with a wrestling show.
I'm down with that one.
Yeah. This has been great, man. Hey, thank y'all for listening. And this is Trey North and Chris McAllister, and we'll see you on the Next 15.